But we'll begin with a quick discussion on the GFA. New GFA, new game, that's the question. So let's start by listening to the normalization, GFA's normalization committee as it successfully held the delegates conference, which led to the election of the new executive, including the new president, KOFI. Let's hear the normalization committee chairperson, and we will be right back.
We have shown, not only to Ghanaians, not only to our West African colleagues, not only to our African colleagues, but to the entire world, that we can do it and we can stand for our rights. We have shown that we have a lot of quality in this country. The quality, the six of us have shown through our manifestos, our engagements, which has been relatively clean. Again, let's be proud of our achievements. In celebrating this success story, colleagues, it is time for us to work. It is time for us to let go of all our bad feelings. It's time for us to forget about the struggles, the fights. It's time to look into the future with hope, to build a new Ghana Football Association that will be amazing, to build big products so that everybody, whether you're a direct consumer of the sport, you are a corporate Ghana, or you are the international community, to be proud of. Again, it is that time that I will say to all of us, let's stay together. Football is a team sport. KOFI cannot do it alone. It is time for us to ignite passion and to create wealth for everybody. Our players, our staff, our groundsmen, our clubs, the female teams, the coast teams, everybody, amateur football across board. This is our time. In celebrating this success, let us all think at all times that it's Ghana first. We will celebrate this victory today. Tomorrow, work begins.
We members of the Normalization Committee, like most of you here and many fans watching on television, we have faith and confidence that today the GFA delegates assembled here will make the right choice for a leader who will lead the Executive Council, and together with a revitalized GFA Secretariat and an improved relationship with WAFU, CAF, and FIFA, engineer a healthy, profitable, entertaining, and modernized Ghana football enterprise.
So you had the new president, the 24th president of the Ghana Football Association, KOFI, and also Dr. Kofi AMOAH, who is the chairman of the Normalization Committee that, of course, after yesterday's event and the swearing in of the new executive, his job has come to an end. In fact, it also means that my job as chair of the disciplinary committee has come to an end. So, what a refreshing new GFA. But are we going to get that translated into a game which is almost lost in Ghana? In fact, some say the game had long been destroyed before number 12. Number 12 only put the final nail in the coffin. So Abdul Malik Kubako is in his seat now, and John Abdullahi Jinapor is also in his seat. Let me begin with you before we get to talk to the football people. Okay, let me talk to Alhaji Lepowera MND Jawula, who is member of CAF Interclub Competitions and FIFA CAF Match Commissioner. He, of course, is the ruler of the Pembe traditional area. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsfile, sir.
Yeah, thank you too. And let me say good morning to all our cherished listeners, and particularly to my brother Malik Okuba, who I haven't seen him for a while, and my blood brother Jinapo. I haven't seen him also for a while.
All right.
I wish them well.
All right. Always refreshing to talk to you. So this is refreshing, isn't it? That we now have a new crop of executives for the GFA. There are some people who are hinting that some of them actually, belong to the old stock. So just new wine in old wine skin, isn't it?
Well, not exactly so. I look at whatever happened from the holistic level. I look at people like Dr. Obin. I look at people like Randy Abbey and other people, Aki and so on, who are also very strong with the clubs, as well as Georgia Maku and the rest. Randy Abbey might have been there a while, but he's a young man. His ideas are fertile, and I believe that, as my people say, they would just say that the strength of the ram is in the waist. So these are the people that will make the difference for people. He will listen.
So it is true to say that persons like Randy Abbey, even though they were in and they have been part of the process, they belong to a different crop because they were known to be, the radicals amongst them. They were known to be the ones who were a bit non-conformist and even criticizing the organization that they were working for themselves. So there's no any room for, entertaining any fears that we are likely to go back to the same old ways that was so unproductive.
No, we shouldn't expect any fears. The only thing one would say at this stage is that who needs to look at everybody dispassionately and knock off all prejudice. Because if you come if you come on the stage, and I'm talking experience, with any prejudices and think that Mr. A or Mr. B has had something against me, or during the campaign, Mr. A or Mr. B said this or that against me, you are not going to get anywhere. Then you are just going to spend all the time fighting like President Trump is fighting on a daily basis. You've got. I know you have laughed a bit. I know.
Yeah.
You've got to make up your mind that you are going to work with everybody, past and present, including past FA presidents who are alive and kicking.
Yes, in fact, KOFI made that promise that he was going to call on Fred Papo-Dems, and he mentioned a number of people that he will be falling on for advice. And
especially Fred Papo. Fred Papo didn't perform well. I was so surprised. I met him at Congress. I said, Fred, give me the chance. I will make you the FA president over everybody any day. But this is an election, and the Electoral College is going to think quite differently. And therefore, don't get discouraged. Don't run away. If something goes wrong, just stay and continue to do whatever you can.
So, Ket campaign on the theme and slogan, Game Changer. What do you expect to change? Will anything really change? What must change?
Well, let's be honest. Elections have catchphrases, game changer, that's among catchwords, creation of wealth. Well, these are all beautiful things to say. Yes, the game that can change, in my opinion, should be at the grassroots. If you can change systems, for us to look back at the Ghana League some years ago, what it was before, the difference between the Ghana League and like the league in Barcelona or the league in Manchester, etc., is the fact that our numbers have diminished on the field of play, and all these other ones still have crowds. And it's the crowds that make the what the CAF people call the ambience. CAF people call the ambience.
All right.
It's the crowds that make football tickle.
Right.
We're thinking of days that we had a Mensa as chairman of Asante Kotoko, or the days that we had Hadiza as chairman of Accra Sobok.
Right.
And the days I was myself chairman of ITU, and the crowds that we brought to the stadium. That was the football. These are the days I'm looking to. And if Kurt is listening or will listen, he should do whatever it takes to bring some of these old people on board who can assist him with advice that can bring the crowds back to the field.
But is that particular task not a very difficult one in these days, because times have changed? When the clubs were formed on the basis of a community and they were owned by a community, so the support was somewhat guaranteed. These days, we understand the clubs are formed by individuals, and more purposely, they do it so they can raise players and, you know, sell them for money. So it's an individual's club and not a community's club.
That is one way of looking at it. But the individuals also have the wherewithal to get two forms of support. One from the government or from the state. And secondly, from the media, people like you, people like Kokupaku and the rest, who, when they go on radio, can say things that can move thousands of people onto the field of play. If we begin to garner media support to get people back to the pitch, then it could make a difference. I was White Commissioner only 2 days ago in Cairo between Zamalek and a team from Senegal. And it was quite exciting. Why am I saying it? Not about the crowds that came to the field. It was on a cold evening. But the fact that these were clubs playing within the context of Africa, and for that matter, these were players who are playing within the jurisdictions of their various countries. And I tell you, the standard was very high. And some of the smaller players play for the Egyptian national team. Some of the Generation Foot players play for the Senegalese national team. And therefore, if we could continue to have Kotoko House of Oak field players of that nature at that high level, then one would say that at least people who go to the field, just look at the players. People go to the stadium sometimes. In those days, just look at Apedipele or Jamokwe or Alanikobo or Mamacho.
I mean, the names you mentioned bring fond memories, even for those of us who, you know, don't have any particular interest in football. Yes, they used to bring a certain sense that everybody wanted to, you know, have something to do with football or get to follow the game. So obviously, you are very hopeful, but you are setting that we are on a path, a commencement of a path to reviving the beautiful game. Is that correct?
That is what I'm talking about. I know a lot has happened, and as I'm here, my nephew, and all the things that went after that and so on, I know a lot has happened, but I know that is not our focus for now. We want to get our football back on track.
Right.
And let's start it from the grassroots. Let's start it seriously for the grassroots. Let's start seeing changes. So the game changer the coach is thinking about, if you have not thought about it, you think about bringing a change on the field on the field that will have intelligent players coming. All these great players are still hanging around in Boku, in Kwa, in Kumasi, in Tamale, in Ho, Hohoi. All these players hanging around there.
All right.
If we are able to keep them in Ghana for a while, I think our football will begin to make sense, because people will say, oh, there's this new striker, there's this new center defender, there's this new midfielder, there's this new goalkeeper, and people will flock just to go and see one player, and it's going to make a difference.
Thank you very much, MND Jawola, for your time. Thank you very much indeed. And of course, you know that he is a veteran. He's been in this game for quite a while. And like he mentioned himself, those days that he, Herbert Mensah, and Harry Zako were running the clubs, those were the good old days, if you like. Okay, so let me come to the studio and get some brief views from my guests in here. Begin with Kweku. And look, when number 12 was done, Anas predicted that this was going to change everything. Now we have a changed GFA. How hopeful are you?
Well, I would suggest that I'm cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic?
Yes. We are all human beings. We are all susceptible to, challenges and things. But I think the lessons that we have learned post number 12 could also help to get people to be on alert, and more ethical in how they handle football issues. So I'm ready to invest in that cautious optimism and hope sincerely that we move forward, we depart from the past. Yes, Anas actually made a point that number 12 was going to shake Ghana football to its very foundation. Yes. And I believe it did. What we've gone through beyond Ghana and within the country. Right. So the most important thing, this is a transitional period. Yes, we've elected new officers to manage football, but they must realize that this is a transitional period. They need to lay a solid foundation for the future. Let me be honest with you. I didn't follow the elections very well. I was only interested in ensuring that my friend Randy Abbey won, and I'm happy he did.
That's expected, yeah.
Then there was a gentleman, Nana Yao Ampunsa, yes, who I met, and I thought he's a very sharp brain, and I was also hoping he emerged victorious. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Yeah. But the most important thing, I don't know.
But he did well. He went into the next round after the first round didn't produce the ultimate winner.
Why I said I didn't follow, I don't know whether they have adopted new statutes or constitution.
Yes, there are.
Good.
That was part of the job of the Normalisation Committee.
So they have it approved by Congress?
There's a process that was FIFA-led.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so I am what I'm trying to make, point I'm making is that framework.
Yes, it is the basis for the present elections.
Fantastic. So that framework must be respected and adhered to. Within that context, I want to see a situation where the GFA Secretariat itself is properly set up.
Okay. Just hold on briefly for me, and I suppose that all of you will support MND Jawola when he says the basis is to get to the roots and make sure the clubs are well taken care of. Now, GFA President KOFI, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us on Newsfile. Hello, Ket.
Hi, good morning.
Right. Thank you very much for making time to join us. I understand that you must be very tired. Yes, but 59 of the votes, you eventually, that's how you came tops. The President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, says that your victory is deserving and that you have the support of the football fraternity. How are you going to turn this support and the well wishes that you have, the goodwill that you have? Because obviously, all Ghanaians across the world will be looking up to you. I'm sure that even before you were sworn in, you heard Justice Enin Yeboah Justice of the Supreme Court, who is also chairs the FIFA Ethics Committee, say that he felt very sad when he's out there and now it looks like he's sort of alone in all of this, when we had gone so high up in this thing. So how are you going to take advantage of the groundswell of, you know, well wishes for you?
Well, first of all, let me say good morning to everybody. I think that the happenings of yesterday clearly gives all of us the momentum to ensure that we bring everybody concerned or connected to our industry together, and to ensure that we take our game to the level that it deserves. In saying this, let me be grateful and thankful to the President of the land, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the Sector Minister, Honorable Isiama, members of the Football Association, the NC's President, the outgoing NC's President, and the membership, all clubs and stakeholders who were part of this amazing process. I think that yesterday I made a clarion call for all of us to come together. Football is a team sport. What that means is that no single individual can navigate us out of the troubles that we find ourselves and take us to the promised land. That's why I put a team together to do the campaign. That's why I encouraged everybody to come out with a manifesto via our manifesto launch. That's why I went out of my way to say kudos to Georgia Free, Amanda Clinton, Georgia Nkuma, Nanayawa Ponsa, Fred Papo, and my own brother, Osei Palmer. We need everybody on board. We all have quality, and I absolutely believe that there's quality in Ghana here, in the football industry, for which reason we have to come together, harness the qualities that we all hold, and make sure that we lay a solid foundation for a big takeoff. We have promised to ignite passion and to create wealth for everybody, and to do that, we want to ensure that the fundamentals are right. And this is what we have promised, and this is what we intend to deliver.
Okay, so you talk about the foundation, and Lepora Jawula spoke to us a while ago, also talking about foundation. Bekubako just spoke a while ago. It does appear very apparent that people are clear that you are going to build from the scratch. Now, there are people in the football who are saying a number of things, which is what appears to happen all the time. How are you going to break away from the tradition that kept us down and so unproductive? The tradition includes that you have won. Most likely, people will say the expectation is that within the fraternity, you will bring your own people, loyalists, rather than look for people who have the expertise. And that will not take us anywhere. What are your plans?
Well, I think that by and large, I have demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt that I believe in quality. And so do the President of the land. I believe in bringing people with different qualities, different opinion positions together to be able to build. And as a basics, I've shown that with my Dream Sales project. I also showed that with the MTN FA Cup. But this journey is totally quite different from what we are talking about anyway. I'm a team player. I believe in harnessing all the intellectuals we have in this country, and to ensure that we are able to build an industry that will be the envy for many, many people, not only in Ghana, but beyond the shores of the country.
Okay. Now, finally, let me share with you Gary Al Smith of Joy Sports. He has got a list of 10 things that he believes should engage your attention. I'm sure you have already spoken about some of them, but I'll just read them to you and ask you what your views are about Gary Al Smith's must-do immediately for your attention. Number one, he says you have to manage expectations. Create a perception around football that will make the nation fall in love with the GFA. Fall in love with the GFA again. Unify all factions. Bring knowledgeable opponents into the fold. Get domestic competitions underway immediately sponsors or no sponsors, you must move now. Conduct an integrity ethics training for players, referees, influential supporters groups, and the media. Number 5, formulate a strategy to engage the government on national teams to be clear on its duties and obligations. Number 6, educate regional football associations on competition management. A national culture of professionalism begins at the grassroots. Number 7, roll out your manifesto promise to make the Ghana Premier League autonomous as soon as possible. Number 8, improve the working conditions of GFA staff. And he says this is key to motivate them to be ethical, so that they don't get caught by another anas. Now, 9 says, find a permanent general secretary quickly, preferably one with good experience in managing football. This person will ensure football runs free of agitations. And finally, make a decision to sack or maintain Kwesi Appiah. His contract expires in December. What do you say?
Well, I think that listening to you clearly tells me or confirms what we've always believed, that there's a lot of work to be done. Most of the points or the challenging points that you raised are clearly also found in the manifesto that we rolled out in the last few weeks. So it tells you that we have been engaging the right people, and clearly with the support of the other members on the Executive Council, I think we have a lot quality. We have people with the right levels of knowledge and capacity to help me to navigate through this journey. Okay. I think that we are ready to deliver. Again, we want to deliver on promise. We would produce an industry that will be the envy of many. The journey begins from today. We're going to engage ourselves and to ensure that we have a smooth take-off. Ghana football will rise again. That's the promise.
Ghana football will rise again. And you campaign on the theme as a game changer and someone who is going to create wealth. When you look in the crystal ball in just some 30 seconds, how long will it take us to climb back to the status that we were in international football, in the international football arena, talking about GFA leadership going that high as Kwesi Nyantakyi did? How long will it take us?
Well, I think that it depends on the level of, so to say, or it depends on how we're going to start. We need to start on the right foot. We have 4 years to execute our manifesto and to ensure that the game comes back alive again. The next 2 weeks will clearly define the way we're going to navigate all of us to the promised land. But I've said on numerous platforms that when the fundamentals are weak, lies will expose you, okay? And we want to ensure that the fundamentals are strong or become strong. And in the next few days, we'll clearly engage ourselves, meet, and hopefully take the right and appropriate strategies.
What's the first thing you are doing when you get to the office on Monday?
Sorry?
What's the first thing you are doing when you get to the office on Monday?
I'll say good morning to everybody. We assure the staff that we are in together.
Okay.
We have a promise to deliver, and that promise will be delivered with their support. Okay.
KOFI, thank you very much. GFA President, thank you very much for your time on Newsfile. And obviously, very obviously, he has such overwhelming goodwill going for him. How do you suggest that he taps into that, and what results can we expect to get? Now, Koku, you are finishing your point.
Yeah, almost. You know, so his immediate surroundings, the GFA Secretariat, of course, they have an executive committee, yeah, but his secretariat, his administrative wing, he must make sure made up of very effective and efficient officers, regardless of their past affiliations and things. It's very important, you know, that he gets that done well. I'm told he also has to appoint, I don't know how, that's why I asked you of the constitution or statute. I don't know the processes, but a vice president. Is that a fact? He has to do that. He has to take his time, do some consultations, make sure the right person is put there. Somebody who will attract controversy immediately, he should not go for. The person may be good, may be very efficient at everything, but if he breeds controversy, he doesn't need that for status, you know. And to be honest with you, I am soccerholic. I love football, but I'm not a good administrator in terms of, because I haven't had any exposure there. But see, if I look into the future, I think our Colts, the Colts, young days, when we were young, those days, you know, we need to have all the teams, whether Division 1 or Premiership, to have junior teams. Okay? It's very important. We need to go back there. And then also schools and colleges. There were days we had academicals. Some of our blasters elements were produced from that side. We need to also take another look at schools and colleges football, how it's done. I'm not sure it's only GFA. GFA, the ministry, National Sports Council, and other stakeholders should come together. Bottom line, infrastructure, okay, across the country, so that people can take part in those things. We've destroyed, town and country planning has been so poor that many of our communities, those community parks and things, we've taken over and we are building all sorts of structures on them. So it's a long process, but the beginning is key. And I wish this Mr. KOFI the best of luck in terms of his leadership.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Clara, I have followed you a bit and I have discovered your love for football.
No, Samson, there's a last point. I need to make that point. Perhaps it's not a major point, but I feel it's a major point. And perhaps what I'm going to do may rather give it some, you know, life. But please, I must be understood. I've seen that a lady who took part, is it
Amanda Clinton?
Yes, some people are using her performance to ridicule her.
Yeah, but some people too are giving her the thumbs up that she's a bold woman, confident woman.
Yes, but so I'm pleading with those who are beginning to call her names, Amanda, Zero, and all those things to desist from. These are the things we do that discourages, you know, ladies from coming to the front line on areas like this. And I plead. You know, I don't know her. I've never met her, but I think it's unfair.
Right.
Yeah.
Clara, like I was saying, I followed you, and I never thought that you have so much love for football, and particularly your campaign when people are attacking their youth and so on. Yes. Yeah. What do you see? A new GFA, a new game?
Before I answer your question, Samson, I want to, our hearts go out to the people of the Upper East region. We have lost some people, we have lost property on account of the floods.
Right.
We are grateful for the people who have contributed in their own way to support the people who have suffered. And then I would make a plea to other people who can support to reach out to the victims of the flood to help them deal with. We are each other's keeper. We are one another's keeper. So let's reach out and see what we can do to help.
Right.
Now,
home
yes.
Of course.
So you have to say so.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that.
No, what I'm saying is that must reinforce it.
It's my home region, but I
reinforce it.
I always go across the country, and I'm sure, Mark, and you should know by now that I look at us as a people.
No. I want people to carry the passion with you. That's.
So yes,
it's important.
If I don't, because I think we should all be concerned.
I support
this is part of
I support that, but I want you to
it could only be misunderstood.
Yes.
No.
It could be misunderstood.
No, it shouldn't be so. If there's a problem in the future, I say, I mean well. Okay. I want you to emphasize that I'm from a future. There's a crisis there. Come help my people. That's what I want to say.
No, but I always come from there that we are Ghanaians, so we should watch out for one another. I wouldn't start from Amefutu.
So let's
keep
the focus, because you don't know what someone like me, I think. Okay. Basic things that we are supposed to solve. Failure of leadership in this country is abysmal. Anytime the Bagri Dam floodgates are opened, people must die, people must lose their homes, and we have heard politicians give the beautiful suggestions, simple ways of diverting the water that we even have need of. We can't divert the water.
Age of science and technology.
We can't do that.
Yes.
Every year, annually, when the floodgates are open, people must die. Homes must go down. So let's talk football. Let's.
Okay. So yes. So, but I think it would be great if we could all reach out and support some part of our country that has suffered floods, and some from among our community.
AMOAH is doing quite a bit of a good job in supporting them. So let's hope they up their game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, with respect to football, yes, I would like to be hopeful. But like I have said, I don't believe that the reason why the previous GFA didn't work is because they were bad people. So I don't think it's a question of persons or personalities. I just think that the main issue was the systems and the procedures.
But they say everything rises and falls on leadership.
Yes, but leadership without the proper systems and procedures will fail.
Leadership without the ethical people will also fail.
Yes, but the ethical people must work in a certain framework. So to a very large extent, I always say that until we are able to acknowledge that our framework is problematic, we are only going to be pretending that some human beings are not human beings. Human beings are human beings. Okay. And to a very large extent, if you are going to have a group of human beings who have the opportunity to do what they like, no matter how good the people they are, eventually they are going to fall. Human beings are human beings. And if they know they can get away with it, there's so much that they can do. I think that if we don't put in place the right systems and the right framework, it's just a matter of time. We will be going around in circles. So it's just a matter of time. We will end back where we started from. So I think the best would be, what I would recommend is to really, of course, in addition to bringing on board, you cannot underrate bringing on board the right people. But what I'm saying is that if all you do is bring on board the right people and you don't set the relevant framework, you are not going to be able to give a lasting change. You may achieve something for a while, but it's not going to be very lasting. So yes, bring on board all the right people who definitely would believe in your vision and can support you to achieve your vision. But I think the most important thing, and what I think would be a great legacy, is to put in place the systems and the procedures that will make sure that the GFA is run effectively. And definitely with the right principles, so that you minimize opportunity for wrongdoing, and even when wrongdoing happens, you have a procedure for holding people accountable. I have never believed that the Rambo style of solving solutions has always worked. And Africa is evidence. If you look at the societies that have invested in systems and procedure, you can see how they advance. And if you look at Africa, we are usually we easily go the Rambo style, just dismantle this and start all over again. So we are always dismantling and starting over again and not going very far. So in addition to all the big plans, I think the basics, and the basics here for me is the framework that you put in place and the investment that you put to make sure that the framework works. So I would recommend strongly on a very good framework and adherence to the framework. And definitely, of course, the right values, because without the right values, very little is going to be achieved.
Yes, Afia Marking, you've had something to do with football at your constituency area or your region area, right? Okay. MPs have had to support all sorts of things, and if you take out football, you may not be getting too far. So what are you looking at from this new GFA?
Thank you, Council. I lost interest in football way back 2005 because I couldn't stand the mafia. I set up a team, sponsored it, Windig professionals, and I noticed that before the match, things had to be predetermined. The coach will come, the manager will come, pay money here, pay money there. Sometimes even offside goals and all that, the thing has not even entered. They say it's a goal.
Yeah, and us gave us the evidence.
You know, so I lost interest in football. I lost interest in football, and I hope that, per what my respected colleague said, new systems are put in place to ignite interest. I don't watch football because when I lost that interest, I don't know, way back 2005. So this in English Premier League, people rushing to watch, I don't get closer. Because that's
what should KOFI do?
Well, the systems in place.
What should they do to get you back to the point where you even committed to running a team?
Thank you. There must be certainty. on the field of play, players, club owners must know that there's going to be a fair game.
All right.
The administration itself should run in a manner that people would have confidence in it. Then the value chain will be properly fulfilled. That those who have businesses would want to sponsor.
Do you get that assurance from him that he's going to do this, particularly when he says, I am an owner of a club, Dreams FC. He says, once I become president, I will stop doing that job. Because we have heard the stories where the GFA president or those at the top have clubs and must do everything to get their clubs, you know, some places, and it doesn't help the general, you know, good.
Well, is he going to resign as a director, or is going to sell off his shares or whatever? I mean, the point is that if the systems are running, it doesn't matter whether the president, first of all, you must have an interest in the game,
right,
to occupy certain positions, because that's, you see the outsiders, what happened, 0-0 here and all that. I mean, you must be part of the system. So there's nothing wrong, in my view, owning a club or having an interest in a club. But if the systems are running, there should be no problem. And that is what will give confidence. That's what is going to drive people. I remember when we were kids, Winneba Advanced Stars, late Fred Abuaji, all the fishermen were leaving the Nshona and going to the stadium, going to play in Kumasi and all that. Fisher folks were chasing Advanced Stars. I remember buses, full load of people, because of Winneba Advanced Stars. Where is it today? And I'm sure these days, if our fisher folks, the farmers in the future year of football, they don't get closer. So it's an opportunity to get all of us back into the game of football.
Okay.
People are willing to get their interest back. But if there's still uncertainty, the supposed mafia is still there, I'm afraid. And again, it's not all about him. He may have the vision, but without the support systems, without the people to support him, he won't get anywhere.
Right.
So I'm calling on all those who have elected offices, who have roles to play, to support, so that we create a positive value chain in that sport.
Okay, John.
A quick one. I'm sorry. I think an earlier session I made quite misleading.
Which one?
The question of vice presidency.
Okay.
Apparently, it's the executive council that would elect a vice president at its first meeting.
Right.
So,
but still, the advice you gave is a very good advice.
Yes, but it's a bit misleading.
Right. Yeah. Thank you very much. So the executive council will decide on the vice president, and of course
there should be compatibility.
Yes.
And
it must be somebody that the president will be comfortable working with. Okay. So, John. And you know, when Afeoma mentioned, you see the outsiders, they got 0-0. It reminded me of something in the football fraternity. Look, they follow this thing with so much passion that they sometimes appear to be ready to sacrifice everything for it. When the Normalisation Committee took over, and some of us were invited to come and work for Ghana, I mean, for God and country. There were people who were saying, but Samson, he doesn't have any background in football. And I said, I didn't need any of that background. And there were people who were very critical about that you need people who are in football, who are associated with the thing. Otherwise, that is not the way to go. How do you think that kind of culture can bring in people with the expertise, but who are not necessarily people within, or you can call the football people?
Well, first of all, it's an association. Even if you take it at the national level, if you choose to run as an independent candidate in Ghana, you can be sure that you won't win the election. You must either belong to the political system in order to advance your aspiration. And
so I have hopes that we'll get to a day when an independent candidate may win.
I hope so too, but I'm saying that is the system, more especially when it's an association. There is that tendency that the association and its members know each other fairly well. That is also to confirm that the gentleman who won, KOFI, appears to be quite knowledgeable in that sector. Listening to him, I am reassured, and I hope that he will do the right thing. Lepora made a clarion call, and I want to pick it from that angle, that I hope he will listen. He's the 24th GFA president. It presupposes that he has a lot of predecessors that he can depend on. And so I would wish that he opens up, listen, and pursue reforms, like my sister said. It is true that you need institutions, but those institutions ought to be built and developed by human beings. And so when you have the right people in place, they build institutions that outlives even their tenure. That's right. So I would wish that we look at it from that angle. He has a unique opportunity. Kwaku said it. We've gone through very tumultuous times. We've gone through very, very difficult times, especially after the number 12 expose. A lot of people lost interest in Ghana's football. Completely. I mean, and if you want to get the clear manifestation of it, you ought to look at the AFCON. It was quite obvious that nobody was ready to even fly Ghana's flag. There was so much apathy. People just didn't want to be. But thank you very much. You are one of the few, and I want to commend you. Fortunately, this problem that we had is presented an opportunity for a lot of reforms. One, the GFA president now has a maximum of 2 terms, 4 years, 4 years. He cannot go beyond 8 years, so there are time limits. 2, even the executive committee has been changed to executive council. 3, there's going to be appointed a general secretary. He is now responsible for the day-to-day running of the FA, and not the president. Even when it comes to hiring of staff, it is the general secretary that hires staff, and not the FA president. And so I think that the first focus should be to appoint an administrator, a general secretary who has the capacity, who has the knowledge, and who can run an efficient and an effective administration in terms of the football fraternity. When you do that, I'm sure that you'll get some of the things right. As for the ownership, you were right when you talked about community ownership. But at least the Europeans have proven that you don't need to have community ownership. Chelsea is owned by somebody, Man U is owned by somebody, Arsenal is owned by somebody. But there's that connection. There is that buy-in. And so I would wish that he does a lot of marketing and a lot of PR. We are disadvantaged because our calendar virtually fits in with the British system. And so the time that House of Folk and Kotoko will be playing, the English Premier League is also playing. And because of advancement in technology and the marketing they have pursued, it would appear that even in Ghana, almost everybody now prefers to wear the jerseys of the British teams. And so that's a challenge that I think he should look at. If it's possible to even tweak the league such that we wouldn't have that clash from the beginning, I'm sure he will look at it. But just to wind up, let me wish him well. Let me also congratulate my very good friend, Randy Abbey. He deserves it. I mean, he's been in that sector. We have the brains in that sector. If you look at the football fraternity, there are very, very good guys there. All he has to do is to tap into their experience, build systems, ensure that we make progress, and then pursue those reforms that ought to be pursued in order to strengthen that base. Other than that, let's all try and give this team the best. I think that we can do a very good job.
Thank you.
I think going forward. To commend FIFA for
the
cooperating with us. Government delegation going to Zurich, the setting up of a normalization committee to ensure all of this. I mean, I don't think they without FIFA's cooperation would have gotten where we are. And of course, government delegation. I mean, when this thing came up, Godfred Dame, Deputy Attorney General, leading delegation, we must also commend him. If anything had gone back, I think would have criticized. And ultimately, Mr. President showed leadership in all of these situations. And
so irrespective of any of the negatives that you may have discovered, of course, it's a human institution, you definitely should say that the Normalization Committee also deserve the congratulations for all the job they have done up to this time. We'll take a break and return to look at the botched PDS deal, the battle between the Government of Ghana and the Millennium Challenge Account or Corporation, and ask questions about the fate of the ECG, more particularly, what is the way going forward? Just one text message here from Abdul Wahid, Nana Abdul Wahidu Omolele. He says that we should call the Referees Association and find out from them whether or not they are willing to be professional in the new era. In his view, he says they are the worst killers of the game in Ghana, just like, you know, Afenyo Marking said. But I believe that whilst the rules are there and the rules apply, things can go well. We'll be right back.